everyone. Welcome to
Girl Talkin' Shenanigans.
We are so excited that you joined with us today. And if it's your first time, we are super excited that you're here to see us. So we have been thinking about our new podcast for today. And one of the things that has always kind of perplexed us a little bit was when we go out and do our adventures together and go places and meet and talk to people, we must get asked at least once or twice each time we go out if we are related or if we're sisters.
I know, it's just so funny because we're not. And what makes it even funnier, though, is when I tell the people that said that, I'll say, but I do have a twin sister. And they're like, what?
And what's even funnier is, so Marilyn and her sister went on a vacation together. And I said, I want you to text me every single time somebody asks you if you're sisters, because I was thinking, oh my God, they're going to get asked everywhere they go,
all the
right?
time.
And they're not identical twins, but they do look alike.
Yeah.
So anyway, she said no, not a once.
No, we actually had to offer the information when they said, oh, what are you girls doing? Like, you know, who are you? Like, are you best friends? And we're like, no, we're sisters, and we're twin sisters. And the funny thing is that I know we do look different because the way that we style our hair, the way we do our makeup, the way we dress, because she's a blonde. She wears her hair down a lot. And
but it's not like I do my hair like yours,
no,
right?
Because you do wear your hair down
completely different.
A lot too. No, that is totally true. And it disappoints me that people don't recognize we're twins, because I love the fact that I have a twin sister. So I really think it's funny when people say, are you sisters?
Are you sisters? So I kind of feel like I'm stealing Carolyn's, I'm stealing her spot or something.
Yeah, you stole her identity. So that's a little fun fact.
Yes.
We always ask people too, like, what was it that made you ask if you thought we were sisters?
Right.
Because we're so curious, because my eyes are green, hers are brown. Some people have actually said it's our coloring. So I'm Armenian, she's half Japanese. So, but I do feel like I'm a lot fairer. But some people have said it's our energy, that we're both very excitable, and we talk with our hands.
Talk a lot.
Yeah, we talk a lot. so
and some people have said because they thought we looked we got to even ask one time if we were twins.
Yeah, which
I was just like,
but I was really,
what the heck? That is funny.
Yeah,
and she's so cute because she's like, oh, I'm flattered that you would say that, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm the one who's flattered, not her. I am like way older than her, so that's kind of not so great for her. No,
I do. I think it's a compliment. Because I've always thought you were beautiful.
Oh,
so
gosh, thank you so much.
I take it as a compliment, even if you don't think.
You're sweet. Oh, my gosh. Goodness. Well,
should we tell him?
Yeah, we'll tell him.
Okay, so when we were talking about...
do a little backstory on this.
Let's do a little backstory, because we have... okay, so, I'm just going to jump into it. Okay, so I have been friends with this person, John, for several years, and John and I had been going to this restaurant in Roseville all the time. It was our favorite restaurant, and we had become friends with the owners, the servers, the hostess, and everything, because we went there so often.
Okay, I need to interject real quick.
Yes.
What we're going to get into is that the way we met our husbands basically would have never happened.
True.
So if I didn't know Marilyn.
Right.
Because of her, I met my husband.
And
because of my husband, Marilyn met her husband.
Yeah.
So that's the backstory on that. And so my husband's John, hers is Steve.
Right.
So how did you meet Steve again?
Oh, okay. So that's, So this is where I'll pick up the story.
Gotcha.
I had been friends with John for years, and we spent a lot of time together, and we would go to this restaurant in Roseville. As I was saying, we became friends with the owners and the servers and the hostess and whatever. And so one day, we were there for dinner. John had excused himself to go to the restroom, and one of the servers had slid into the booth with me, and she said, I just found out that you and John are not dating. And I said, no, John and I are just friends. We've been friends for years. And he said, well, the reason why I'm asking is because I would love to set you up with my brother. I think you would totally be my brother's type. And I was like, really? Well, so in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, I just recently got out of a relationship and I wasn't quite sure if I was ready to get into another. But I always think everything happens for a reason. And so what would it hurt if I just asked her to get a picture? Now that I'm saying it out loud, does that sound materialistic? Because I just wanted to know.
I don't think so.
What her brother looked like. Because sometimes you're attracted to someone and sometimes you're not. And I felt like it would give him an upper edge if I at least thought he was handsome. So.
I agree.
Right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you for that.
Yes.
Because telling the story out loud made me think that. Okay. So anyhow, the server Laura, her name is Laura, she had stuck a picture of her brother in her apron until the next time John and I came in, which was probably just a few days later. So John and I went in for dinner, and Laura squeezed in the booth, and she goes, so I got a picture of my brother. Okay, so back then, 22 years ago, we didn't have a camera on our cell phone to like scroll through. So back then you would literally just pull a photograph out of your photo album.
Which just seems so crazy now.
I know.
Oh my gosh,
Because I don't even think I've been married that long.
I know, it just seems, just doesn't even seem like it, that was that long ago. Our technology was so different.
Yeah. It really was.
Anyway,
making me
sorry.
Old. So
me old.
So I figured when I saw Laura the next time at the restaurant, she was going to have a snapshot that she pulled out of her photo album. And so when she handed me the picture, I was mortified because on the top of the picture that she had handed me of her brother's face, it said, pick me, pick me. And Steve owns a sign shop, so I'm sure it was very easy for him to do some graphics on a picture. But the fact that she told her brother that she was considering setting him up with somebody made me feel horrible because I just wanted her to secretly sneak a picture out of a photo album that she had already had at home and just bring it to me.
Oh my gosh.
So now this poor guy knows that there might be this girl or might not be this girl who's interested in going out with him. So fortunately for Steve, I thought he was very handsome. His sparkly blue eyes and his big broad shoulders, and he just had this happy glow about him. I was like, okay, here's my phone number. Have him call me. So he must have marked his calendar because he did wait a couple of days to call me. That
Good
whole
job, Steve.
2-day rule or whatever it is.
Yeah, that 48-hour rule.
Right? So anyhow, he called and we went out to our first date a couple days later, and then we were inseparable. Like, we did everything together. Okay, so this is how I met my husband. So I'm going to tie the stories together now, because I ended up getting hired at Chicago Title, not knowing anything about Cynthia. When I started working there, she was on a medical leave. But I kept hearing all about Cynthia. Everybody loves Cynthia. And I was so excited to finally meet this girl, Cynthia. So when I did, I was like, now I see what all the fuss is about. Because she was so fun. And you were just beaming joy. And you just radiated this like super like positive, happy, fun energy. And I gravitate towards that. So I was super excited to meet you, okay?
Yes.
So she's working now. She comes back from medical leave. I sat near the front of the office, and she sat in the
all the way in the back.
Right?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to bring this all full circle now, because John had come into the office to take me to lunch, and when him and I were going to sushi, he said, "Who's the girl in the back?" And I said, "Oh, that's my friend Cynthia. Why are you asking?" And he's like, "Well, she's beautiful, and I just wondered if you thought that she might want to go out with me. And I'm like, well, let me ask her. And so I went back to work and I'm like, Cynthia, so my friend John, did you see him? He wants to, he's interested in going out with you.
And I had seen him a couple times come in the office, so I knew who he was because he worked with Marilyn, and so I'd seen him a couple times.
He was a client of mine. I don't know that I had mentioned that.
Yes,
that was initially how I met John. Is he was a client of mine.
And he was super friendly, always smiling,
Yeah.
So anyway, so she, says to me, she said, well, my friend John was wondering basically if you, or thought you were cute. That's what you said. You said, oh, my friend John thinks you're really cute.
And he wants to know if he would go out with him.
Well, actually, I think you just said, my friend John thinks you're really cute. And I said, that's nice.
Oh, okay.
And,
I remember that now.
Yeah. And then you said, well, he was wondering if maybe you might want to go out with him. And I said, I really am not looking for a relationship right now. Not that was going to be a relationship, a date, but I had just kind of broken up with the boyfriend like 3 months prior, just gotten back to work from a medical leave. It was like the last thing I wanted to do was, go on a date and meet somebody and the whole thing.
Right.
So I was kind of like, no, not really. I'm just kind of like,
it's a lot.
Yeah.
When you just get out of one, you're kind of still trying to find yourself and get back into a rhythm.
I just wasn't into it.
I totally get it. I had to do the due diligence.
Oh no, yeah, and I totally appreciate
John asked
that.
Me. Oh my gosh, yeah.
So then, of course, he asked you, what did I say,
Yeah.
right? And you
I had to be really diplomatic because I didn't want to hurt John's feelings.
No, of
it
course
had nothing to do with John
No.
because I thought the world of John. But I wanted to be very diplomatic and tell him, that she just got back from medical leave. She's recently out of a relationship and she's just kind of enjoying herself, And so I thought that would be the end of it until the phone rang.
I think it was, I don't remember how long it was, maybe a day or two
I
or
think
whatever.
it was just a day or two.
Was it? Yeah, it was really close to that time when she had told him. So my phone rings and I pick it up and it's John. And I said, when I heard his voice, because I will say he's got this great voice.
Yeah, very.
And so I knew it was his voice. And I said, you called the wrong extension because I'm sure you wanted Marilyn, not me. And he goes, no, I actually called you. And I went, oh, okay. So anyway, so he kind of went into, I'd really like to take you out. Maybe we can go out to dinner sometime. And I kind of didn't know what to say.
Yes.
And so I said, okay. I go, okay, that sounds nice. I'm sure there's a time we can get together. And he goes, what about possibly Friday, next Friday? So I said, okay, well, I think I was kind of flustered a little bit
Can
too.
I jump in? Can I jump in? Because
Yeah.
I remember where you're at in the story. Because the funny thing is that our office was pretty quiet. It wasn't a very big office. So I can hear her in the back going, oh, hi. And doing the whole I think you got the wrong extension. And and then she's like, oh, okay. And then she's like, all right, okay. And so it was really funny because from the way that she was responding, because I obviously couldn't hear John's side of the conversation. I could only hear hers. My heart starts racing because I'm like, I think that she's talking to John. And so then I'm just like, oh my gosh, John is so brave. After I told him that it's just not a good time for her, that he still picked up the phone and called her.
Called me.
I thought that was so commendable.
I was actually a little impressed myself because I thought, okay, that showed confidence to me.
Yes.
And I, of course, like that in somebody. I think we all do.
Yes.
And so it kind of just showed this confidence that, he
It's
had.
attractive.
Yeah. That he had. So, yeah, he goes.
Because when you got off the phone, you were like.
I'm like, Marilyn.
Yeah, she's like, because we would always get in trouble for talking at work.
Yeah.
And our boss's office was in an office, but right between our
Right
office.
between us.
Yeah, so she would always come out and joke that she was going to duct tape my mouth shut and and stuff like that. But anyways, that could be another podcast.
Yeah.
But so she was like whispering, Marilyn, because we didn't want to get in trouble for talking. And so she's like, go to the break room. So we went in the break room and she goes, that was John. And I go, I thought so. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. And I said, but he's such a nice guy. Like, just go out with him. You're gonna just think the world of him too, you know? Okay, so now we're back to where you were saying, like, you're like picking a date to go on a first date. Okay,
right.
sorry.
And
I just
so,
wanted to
oh no,
share that.
you're fine. You are fine. No, so it was kind of like a Friday. So he says, I'll call you on Thursday, the Thursday before. So I said, okay. So anyway, he does call me on Thursday and he says, hi, it's John, you know, and I was thinking about where would you like to go out for dinner? And I said, you know what? I can't go. I'm really sorry, but like I said, I was a little flustered when he called me the first time, and I had totally forgotten that I was going to Las Vegas with a friend on, I think we were leaving Friday morning. I think I'd taken Friday and, I think I just took Friday off. So anyway, I said, I can't go because I had completely forgot about this trip. And so he goes, oh, okay. He goes, that's fine. He goes, what about the next Friday? So I said, okay, that sounds good. He goes, okay, I'll call you next Thursday. So I said, okay.
We'll see if he calls.
Yeah, because they never call when they say they're going to call, right?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. So next Thursday, he calls. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm a little impressed again because he actually called the day he said he was going to call. And he said, it's me. Friday's already here tomorrow. Where would you like to go? And I said, well, I actually don't think I should go. And he's like, oh, really? And I said, yeah. He goes, I said, my son, he was at the time 14. And I said, I've never left my son by himself, like in the evening. And I just got back from Las Vegas last weekend and he was with a babysitter. Or no, he's actually with his dad. And I said, so I just don't feel like I should leave him again. And he goes, oh, okay. And so I said, maybe the following week, because that way I could get, somebody to watch him and
have time with David.
And I'll have time with my son. I said, so I just don't really want to leave him again this weekend. So I kind of put him off again, right? And he said, oh, okay.
And if that was me, I would have thought you were blowing me off.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah.
Because that's like 2 dates that you've canceled. Mm-hmm. And he's still hanging in there.
Yeah. And he says, okay, I'll call you next Thursday.
I think that's so
So
great.
we're on the third Thursday now. And he freaking calls me.
Which shows that
tenacity.
Right? It shows tenacity, and he just knew you were a good person because I was raving about her. And I think that he knew you were somebody worth sticking it out for.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that most guys would hang in there to be canceled on already twice. And possibly a third time. He didn't know yet because he was calling you the Thursday before.
You are
so
right.
I think it just shows a lot about your character and what he already knew about you. And, he's already enamored,
that's nice.
right?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he did call me on Thursday. So I said, okay, we'll go out. So we did. We went out to a Japanese restaurant that Friday, and I met him out there. I didn't even want him to pick me up. I said, I'll meet you out there.
You never know.
That's right.
Safety first.
Yeah. And he was just such a gentleman. I mean, the whole time he was such a gentleman. He had such class, and I just really enjoyed him, had a great time. We had good conversation. We're in kind of the same business, so we had a lot of things to talk about. And so kind of like Marilyn and Steve, from that day that I went out with John, we were together ever since.
And you know what's so funny? While you're talking about this, I'm kind of like realizing, like, because John and I did a lot of stuff together.
Yeah.
All the time. Like, we did a lot more things together before I met Steve. But after I met Steve, we still did a lot together. But then he met you.
During the day, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so it was like John and I started hanging out less and less and less. And then it was more like we were doing a couples thing.
Yes,
like we were going
all
out to
four
dinner
would go out.
as couples.
Yeah, you're right.
So I love that. I mean, honestly, like Cynthia said in the beginning of the episode, that I wouldn't have met Steve if it wasn't for John, and she wouldn't have met John if it wasn't for you.
Yeah.
And so it's just really cool, like how it just kind of like created our whole families based on the fact that I got hired at this random title company where this random girl is working.
Yeah.
And then we become friends, and then all of this like transpires.
Yeah.
So
it's like how our lives could have been so different.
Yes.
Just if one little turn was different.
Exactly. Like if I hadn't gone back to escrow from real estate, like
Right.
I wouldn't have ever met you.
Right.
And like how it all transpired.
Yeah, I know.
I'm so glad it did.
Oh, well, me too.
Right? I mean,
My
honestly,
gosh.
it's like now here we're doing this. Like we've done so many things together.
We have done a lot throughout the years.
Yeah.
Yes, because that was, I mean, me and John have been married 21 years now.
Yeah, and
So-
that's 22.
And her 22. So, yeah, that was a while ago. And, yeah.
So, yeah. So, and I just wanted to roll it into, okay, so then Cynthia and I were going out, you know, the four of us to dinner, yada, yada. And I'm flashing forward several years, obviously. But I remember when you met us for dinner and you said that you had taken time off work.
Uh-huh.
And I was so excited because at that point in time, Braden was 1.5 years old.
Yes, yes.
And
He was just a little tyke.
he was so tiny.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, I had worked my whole life. I was so excited to be a stay-home mom. And it was like literally the best time in my whole life. But I was getting a little bit bored because I was like, there's only so many book readings at the library. There's only so many trips to the park that you can do. So do you remember we were at La Provence having dinner?
Yep.
And you said that there was this street in Placerville, and I don't think I'd ever been in Placerville, to be honest. I knew of Placerville and whatnot, but I'd never been there.
Right.
So you were telling me that there is an ice cream shop, a toy store, antique stores, which I already knew I loved because I have this teacup, vintage teacup thing, you know, affinity or collection
Oh, man,
thing.
we totally got
Right.
into it. We wanted to, at one point, actually open
Oh,
a
yeah.
tea shop. Yeah, because remember when all the tea stuff was going on?
Yeah, there was
I
tea
mean, even though there
houses.
still is, but not like it was.
Yeah.
And, so she really got me into the vintage teacups.
Scone plates.
Oh, my
and
gosh.
The whole 9
We
yards.
had so much fun going to
Yes.
all those different
And
places.
this was the first time.
And I think Placerville was our first time to hit
Yes,
antique
together,
stores
together.
together.
Yeah.
And look at all that fun
Because I was just
stuff.
telling her, like, you know, I set up these
Yes.
tea parties for my niece and my twin sister, and we were having so much fun doing that. And every time I would go to an antique store, I wanted to collect another piece. So
Yes.
maybe it would be another, like, dinner plate or an appetizer plate or a teacup or whatever. And so the fact that she was saying there was a toy store for Braden to shop at and or ice cream.
Right,
There was
from
actually
Class.
a candy store, too.
Yep, there's a whole, with
In
a
an
whole
ice cream
candy
shop.
store.
So I was like, this
Yeah.
is perfect. So once we did that, it
Yeah.
just triggered us going,
Yep.
like, what about an antique store in Grass Valley? What
Yep.
about an antique store in Nevada City? And so then we just started doing, like,
Going
all this
everywhere.
stuff together. And the fun thing is that she always wants to drive because she gets a little motion sickness when she's driving with somebody else. So you were so sweet. She had a Mercedes at the time. And we would take the car seat out of my car and put the car seat into her car, and she didn't care if Braden crumbled scone or cookie or snacks, the kids' snacks or whatever.
it's a car.
You were so sweet about it. But we would go to farmers markets. We would go to lunch.
Oh, we did all kinds of stuff. I mean, we did a ton of shopping, though, for our vintage stuff because it was so fun that we literally filled up my entire china cabinet, and she's got 2 now. And we filled them all up, and it's still so really cool, though, when we learned so much about vintage, the place settings, what every fork and every spoon
server.
and a butter. There's all
There's like a tomato server.
Oh my gosh!
And a scone server.
Yeah, a knife for your butter,
Yeah,
a knife for
your
this, a
jelly.
knife for that,
I know.
and I mean a dish for this and a dish for that. And I said, and they didn't even have dishwashers back then.
Oh my gosh, I know.
Guess they had maids. I guess they had people.
Yeah, maybe they had a butler. I'm not sure.
Oh my gosh, there were so many things.
But that was something that her and I really connected on.
We bonded, totally bonded on that.
And we love ice cream, and she was so sweet. She would go to the toy stores with me and Braden. Her and I would just sit there. Braden would be playing with the train tables, and her and I would be talking.
He was all into Thomas the Train then.
Yes, he totally was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I guess everything kind of changed a little bit with all of those fun adventures with Braden being a toddler when we both went back to work in 2010.
Yes. 2010, I had to went back to work.
Yeah, and I had now almost, it was 4.5 years off that I had because Braden was now 4.5.
Wow.
So
time flies when you're having fun.
Oh my gosh, I know. It feels like it went by so fast. But those are literally some of my best memories that you and I had because we were like inseparable. And it wasn't like we were doing like one adventure a week. Like we would plan 2 or 3 things every single week.
So
and we got to be like really like sisters.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why people think we're sisters. Because maybe it could just be the way we interact together. Because we do feel so comfortable and close with each other. So that might be another reason why people
It could be our noses too.
Yeah.
You know?
We've got an army.
I don't have a Japanese one, but I got my dad's nose. Yeah.
Thanks for pointing that out.
Oh, you're welcome.
I'll get you back for that. I'll totally get you back.
Oh my gosh.
So anyways, just kidding. Not. But so anyways, we've just stayed close all this time.
Yeah.
And so the funny thing is that come around, let's just flash forward. We've done all these things. Braden's growing up. We're, everything's just, life is happening.
Yeah.
And in 2022, by this point, she has already quit working. You've retired. Because you retired in 2018.
I did. I retired in 2018, yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
So now, of course, we're still friends. We're doing whatever we can. It's just, I'm still working.
But now she's working. Yeah, and I'm
she's
not now.
And I'm
not
jealous because she's like Christmas shopping and getting all these things done. And I'm like scrambling to get all the trees up. And I'm so jealous that she's not working. But I know I have to work. Like, we have a household to keep running. So,
yeah.
But then the rates went from like 2.5 during the pandemic to 7 within it was from, I think the rates were at like 2.5 in February of 2022. And by like
it was actually after the pandemic. It totally flew off.
Yeah, because during the pandemic, the rates were
it was
so good.
Yeah, everybody was busy still.
We were so busy. Like, we never got time off during the pandemic. All of us were working. Like, if we had a COVID exposure, then we all had to leave the office. We had hazmat come in and spray everything.
So glad I missed all that.
Oh my gosh, it was so interesting. I mean, in one day I had like 43 possible closings between refis and purchases. It was crazy. It was exciting and fun, and the days flew by, but it was a lot. So now it's like, February of 2022, and the rates are going from like 2.5 to 3 to 3.5 to 4.
Up and up.
So by May, the rates were at 7%. And in the escrow industry, you know that everybody's like, everything is based on the interest rate. So way deep down, all of us are kind of panicking because job security is not there when the rates are so high.
Right.
Buyers aren't buying and people aren't
nobody's
refinancing.
refinancing. Yeah, nobody refis.
So I got laid off in July. Actually, it was Steve's birthday.
Oh, my gosh.
I got laid off on July 8th of 2022. And it was very bittersweet because, when you have a job and you're used to the income, you want to keep it going.
Of course.
But
I was like, yippee!
Yes, because I didn't want to be too excited because I was like, okay. So I called Steve and I'm like, okay, I got good news and I got bad news. And he's like, well, give me the good news first. He said, give me the good news first. And I said, well, the good news is I get to spend your birthday with you. And he goes, well, then what's the bad news? And I go, I just got laid off from my job. And so anyways, like I said, it was a process of like trying to, deal with the emotions of getting laid off. But as soon as I realized I was going to have 24/7 with my bestie again, I was like,
oh my gosh, we get to do all the stuff we did before. Yay. I was so excited. So
Yeah, we've kind of been inseparable
Yep.
since July of 2022 because we're both not working.
Yeah.
And so, honestly, it was just us spending so much time together and Steve putting the bug in our ear about doing a podcast, that
Right.
really we're like, we have all this time on our hands. Like, yes, we're
Well,
wives and moms and
other,
everything.
yeah. And of course, life hits us with many other things,
Yeah.
as everybody knows, right?
Right.
So,
And we thought, you know what? Let's do this. Let's do the podcast. Let's talk about all the fun adventures and all the little shenanigans we get into along the way. But let's let people know there's real life stuff going on in both of our lives.
of course.
And so, we just try to find the best, the most positive, look at everything with
Find that silver lining.
yeah,
and
find a silver lining. Find gratitude in a tiny
yes.
thing.
And we always hope, too, to bring a smile to your face.
Yeah,
you
and
know?
so
Yeah,
I agree. As we're sharing our fun adventures with
Yes.
you, we hope you'll stick around because we're going to get more into real life, the stuff that is going on behind the scenes in our lives and how we just push through,
Yep.
the hard days
Yes.
and all that. And
Yep.
so really, I think that, you're going to be on this journey with us.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
For sure.
And
I
we're
think you're going
excited
to want
share.
to. Yeah.
We hope you'll gain from this, and we're gaining a lot from it.
We are.
'Cause
We,
really,
we're learning a lot and gaining, like you said, we're meeting so many people. We're just super excited.
Yeah.
The people that we have met and all the
sharing our story,
sharing our story and
backstory
hearing
and-
their stories.
getting
and-
perspective.
yeah, it's
on
really
life
been
and-
exciting. So,
Yeah.
so we will get into a lot more backstories with our lives and families and all that too. But we always want you to like and subscribe. We don't want you to ever forget to do that. We would surely appreciate it.
Yes.
Yeah. So on that note,
Catch you on the next one.